Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
Hey guys, what's up? Amir Reiter here for our second episode of the Transform Life series of our Transform Sales podcast. And I brought on our co-host, Eddie Bejo, to be with us with Raki Watson, founder of Freight Gruntz. Raki, what's up, man? How are you?
What's going on, everybody? What's up, Amir? What's up, Eddie?
I'm
Hey, Raki, nice to have you.
I'm not jealous of Eddie's Northeast Long Island home, but your blue lights are kind of cool. So I gotta set that up after. For everybody listening, at CloudTask, we have a marketplace. We help buyers and sellers of sales services. Raki is actually a hiring buyer who actually came to our marketplace and is looking to hire freelancers. I had an awesome conversation with him yesterday where he shared with me some facts about how sales has changed his life and how he's a 34-year-old founder of a company who's also impacting his life. So I said, Raki, why don't we do a live show so we can help people, show them what's up, and actually tell them the real deal about sales and how it can impact your life. Before we get into that, simple introduction. Love for you to tell everybody who you are and maybe a cool fact about yourself that they would not know.
Good deal. So I'm Raki Watson. I'm the founder of Freight Gruntz. We are a 3PL tech and technology company. Fun fact about myself, I'm a military veteran. I'm Army veteran. I served 6 years in the reserve, and I did transportation in the Army. So I got a little bit of the government taste as well as the civilian taste when I worked for Garda Logistics and other civilian sector companies. So I come with a little bit of diversity, but I did work both of these avenues on civilian and government while in college. So in undergrad on up until I started graduate school, I was doing both. So I was able to kind of taste a little bit of logistics on the government and civilian sector. So that's a little fun fact about myself.
Awesome. So protecting our civil, not only you're providing sales jobs, but you're protecting our citizens for years. I love it. Talk to me about how you got into sales jobs. Many people listening, right? They're maybe in sales. They don't know how to get promoted and move up. Maybe they're scared of sales, right? So what was your story? What was your path? How did you get into sales?
Sure. So in my when I was actually in community college, I worked for a call center. So in that call center was like a 411 type vibe. So I kind of like did not succeed at that part of the 411 sale, like the 411, the call center vibe, right? Because I always wanted you had quality assurance. So I always wanted to do things my way. My way didn't work. So after that, I kind of branched into other sales, like door-to-door sales, just like trying to hustle.
Did you ever sell vacuums door to door? I sold vacuums door to door.
So I wasn't selling vacuums door to door. It was just like whether it was cable. Then one of my close friends was doing knives.
Knives, yes, Cutco.
all different type things, right? So then I went to, when I was in my first year, I went to North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Agriculture and Technical State, which is in Greensboro, North Carolina. But I went to Gifford Technical Community College, and I was working at Burger King. So I was working at Burger King from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. And then I had an 8 o'clock class, right? So I picked up sales along between, like, from the community college and then also from like the businesses that I was trying to make ends meet, right? I was coming from a single parent household. And then I was just picking up on skills. I always had the gift of gab, but however, I had to have a company that believed in me. So I was just like picking up little startup companies. And then, believe it or not, Burger King gave me a little bit of just like coming in, moving, doing things like that, right? So I was basically making my money off of hours at Burger King, learning my sales skills through self-taught and other little small companies, just going from there.
No, this is why I had to bring you on the show, right? Because a lot of people listening, there's thousands of people in our freelance community, and they look at a 34-year-old founder, right? And they're like, okay, this guy, probably went to like Harvard, is a good school. He was given the business. They are, many people across the world are in a way stuck in a call center, and by I mean stuck, just making ends meet and not necessarily happy with their career, right? So it's very rare that they actually hear the true story of, you could start in a call center, you can work at Burger King, and by 34 you can be an owner, right, of a highly successful company. Like, my brother worked at McDonald's and he's a chief technology officer in multiple companies. So these are the stories that people don't hear, right? And they just kind of assume that I'm in a call center, and this is my destiny, right? Or I'm working at Burger King, and people should know that these jobs, any job you have, you hold your head up high, give 110%, and what comes from it is greatness, right? I'm like, you too, guys, anybody listening, you can have an awesome blue light, Raki, and doing live chats with your boys, helping
Right.
people in 5 years. I'll pass the mic to Eddie. I know Eddie's got some questions for you.
For
Yeah,
sure.
thank you, Amir. Yeah, there's a lot of people that hate on these, let's say, low income jobs, but in reality, when you work for those type of companies, they have processes that you can learn from. And you mentioned, hey, I early started with logistics, and I've seen that a lot of people reach sales through many different journeys. Yours was interesting. Now, I have a question for you, which is, how has sales changed your life? Because it didn't seem like you were born, as Amir was saying, in a silver crib, all the opportunities. I have a company where it's my parents, I've grown here. No, you stumbled upon a business, an endeavor, something that led you to, hey, I need to learn about sales. Tell us a little bit about that, and how has that changed your life?
So I stumbled upon it, and sales changed my life in different ways. So let me back up a little bit. I also own an e-commerce firearms business, right? And that has been my baby for 8 years now, right? So learning how to sell is two ways. You got the system and you got the processes, right? But I was always taught you have to be personable no matter what. Okay. So let's talk what does that mean? In order for someone to like you, whether it's face to face or on the phone, someone has to trust you. And I learned that through a lot of different companies. So when I was able to grow and mature through sales, it was just I always had the hunger. Sales is not a it's something that you either not necessarily born with it, but you could it's ongoing learning. It's ongoing learning, right? And it's all about how you articulate yourself in the process. So when I had my e-commerce business, the biggest thing was is understanding that when I needed to close and I needed to answer questions that the customers want, I was looking at the buyer's journey later on. This person may not buy a product or service from me right now, but how can I connect them later on down the road? So that was something that I learned and I stumbled upon. I hope that answered the question a little bit, Eddie.
Yeah, that was interesting because you also mentioned something important that I've seen a lot of people on the fence think about, which is sales is not a sexy profession for a lot of people. When you're a
No.
kid, you're never like, I want to grow up being a salesman. You may think I want to be a policeman, an astronaut. So sales does not have that sexy connotation. But you just mentioned something important, which is you don't have to be born a salesperson. You can learn these skills, and it's not about being pushy, being old school, right?
Do you know
Right.
why? Do you know why sales doesn't have a sexy attitude? Because that's how we have workers. We don't teach them about how sales can set them free. We teach them to
Right.
be afraid of sales. You will find a
Right.
consistency in leaders. If they're not a technology leader who invented some 3D printing technology, they're usually a sales background. And guess what? If we taught everybody that, who's going to end up working all the other call center jobs?
Right. Right.
All right.
You
So
know,
it's a deeper reason, right?
yeah, absolutely. You know what's I read a book and I continuously read this book over and over. And I think a lot of people forget about one of the things that we want out of life. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about freedom. So I'm reading a book called The 4 Hour Work Week. And I continuously read that book over and over and over again. And I build upon that skill because I left a government job um of 4 years just recently in the government sector. I left that job and it was all of a sudden, it was due to family conditions. It wasn't saying like, hey, I'm about to walk out and I'm about to just be on my own and I'm about to be just I own company. I own a company still while working a government job. I built my firearm company while working a government job. So I was doing sales still while working a 9 to 5, then transitioning and still having a trucking company, then transitioning and building a brokerage. So sales has been able to plateau me in different forms, right? And I always tell my people when you come to my company, I'm not the person that looks high and look low. I'm not God. I will get on the phone, I will put my headset and my mic on, and we will get down and dirty, right? That's what I take pride into. Still being able to get in the mud with my people, and we're gonna close a deal. And you still can have that deal, but I want to get in the mud and let you know that no matter till my casket closed, I'm always going to be a salesman and I'm always going to be able to be hungry for those deals.
So
Salesmen and saleswomen are hunters.
so anybody listening to that, like how is Eddie asked how did sales transform your life, right? If you talk deeper, right? I think it's the rejection that comes from sales, right? And I think that rejection that comes from sales, it almost kind of like heals like your muscles like keep getting ripped apart and get bigger, right? And what you're really saying is that had impacted that impact on your life basically strengthened your personal relationships, your business relationships, right? So it's like what got you here with sales, right? And then what getting you there is the fact that you didn't forget your roots of working hard, right? And that's your
Of course,
leadership style.
of course, of
Makes
course.
sense.
Objection and rejection is something that it comes with the process. Like one of the things that I just told someone that I was hired from the platform, and they asked me I had a freelancer ask me this: what is the what is the objection or rejection rate right now of your company? Right? They wanted me to give them a successful number. No, that's not what I'm going to give you. I said it's how you overcome objection and your follow up with that. Right? So a sales cadence. So my wife tells me this. She said, baby, when somebody tells you no, when a train is passing by, some people sit at the train tracks and wait for it to pass by. You turn around and you find a different way. If you can't be that salesperson to find a different way, you're gonna cap out at where you want to be at. I'm not even at the place where I want to be at. So objection and rejection and how you navigate those two things is going to be major in your success.
Yeah. Well, Rocky, you're 34 years old. You got a long way to go,
I do.
right?
I do.
You got family, you got multiple businesses. By the way, one of the things that I heard you talk about that we kind of skipped over was the fact that there was an actual event that happened in your life with the government job, and instead of making that event something into negative, you spun it into motivation, right? Where it's like,
Right.
okay, so like I think a lot of people listening here need to really also keep in mind that like when you do sales, it strengthens you for rejection, but you also learn how to handle problems. And you have two choices, right? A problem can come into your life and you could choose to be defeated, right? Or you could choose to say, this happened for me versus happened to me, right? And I think many people do this whole concept of this happened to me, right? Not for me, right? And if you look at it, I'm here at CloudTask because I got fired from a job called NetSuite, right? So I could have been a victim and said, oh my God, I got fired. It was so this, that. But I used it to motivate myself to launch a company. And one of the things that my ex-boss said to me was, he goes, Amir, do you think you're really a salesperson, like a software salesperson? And my response to him wasn't words. It was literally launching CloudTask, helping thousands of people get sales jobs and doing hundreds of millions of dollars of software jobs. So I think a lot of times that sales kind of teaches us like the fact that life is not easy, right? And we find ourselves insulated in other jobs, but where sales really exposes us to like, this is life. You're going to have failure and you're going to have to move and you're going to have to make changes, which is awesome. I'm like, Eddie also started in a call center and now he's here as a co-founder and leader in our company. Eddie, I didn't mean to cut you off. I knew you got some more questions, I think.
No, and it's a good comment because I have the same perspective on life that challenges will always be there and they'll be free. You don't have to move a finger. Challenges will come to you. So what do you do about it? Do you just let life happen to you, or are you going to take a more proactive approach and make things happen the way you want them to happen and get a grip, take control? You cannot change everything in your life, but you can always change your attitude. And that is the first thing of a salesperson that I see coming through with you, which is, I'm not wimpy. I'm not complaining. Sink or swim mentality. What's the challenge? Let me go tackle it head first. Go getter attitude. Now, hearing you speak, the other thing I notice is we started logistics, started in the army, doing my business, working for the government, then had to learn about sales and throughout all of this journey. But it's not like sales is a thing that I learn and I apply once. It seems like sales is all over your life. Every interaction, you're always selling, whether it's going out to dinner, picking a movie, or doing a transaction. What do you think about that, Raki?
So great point, and that's something that I live by. Right. Um, I say this phrase to my network group. If you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. You want to go somewhere far, go together. I'm gonna say it one more time for those that may not understand. If you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to go somewhere far, go together. In business and in sales, if you want to be just a one person army, you're only gonna go somewhere quick. Like my company, we're scaling, right? And our projections, what we're looking at, we went together. So what does that mean? My business partner, the other half of Freight Gruntz, He's active duty Army veteran as well. Have worked in the highest point of government in the Pentagon and other places all over the country. Right? We collectively came up with the name Freight Gruntz, and we saw the need. Right? And when we saw that need, we knew that we couldn't do this alone. So together we came up with this idea. Together we scale our sales team. Together we reach out. We leverage partnerships with companies like you guys, other companies, and that way we scale. So $4.5 million in the first year is not an asinine thought when we able to go together, right? So I always tell people, and I tell my friends and family, if you think that I'm talking about if I'm going to be a millionaire, multimillionaire, it's not if, it's when. And I'm doing that process of understanding that sales is everything. So when I go out to dinner, somebody meet me, they may not like logistics, but they may be a two-way advocate, right? They're not understanding, but I may not offer them. They may not be interested in anything that I'm talking about, but I may be able to draw them to a platform where other buyers and sellers will be able to leverage their sales through freelancers in different parts of the country, and then I'm able to connect them with Amir and Eddie, right, and other companies like themselves. So that allows me and how you're able to propel and use your network to be able to do sales and other facets of life. And I'll pause there.
Yeah, I have
Great.
one question. I'm going to jump into Eddie, but even before that, like listening to what you said, you can get far together. You don't get you don't get somewhere alone, right? Like, can you repeat that one more time, just so I get it
So
right?
if you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to
Yeah.
go somewhere far, go
So,
together.
so this is going to sound a little too deep, but I'm gonna do it anyways. But if you think about humans in general, if we did things alone, we wouldn't even have language,
Oh no,
right?
we
Correct.
are a
Like
society.
so if you look at who we are as a race of species, that statement is been true from day one, right? And I think a lot of times people are looking for answers, like how do I achieve this? But it's always been there and it's been together, right? That's what makes us special.
Right.
Animals, they don't write things down and leave records. They don't advance, right? We share our lives experiences with together. We made a printing press, right? And we made millions of Bibles, and it went and that went over the world, right? So it's like if you look at how we've gotten here, the answers of how to get there are really clear. It's build a
Absolutely.
team and get there together. Which is I met you yesterday, and immediately
Right.
we're on a podcast because we've been able to like-minded people can find each other in the internet immediately and build what is called a network state, right? And
Exactly.
network states of like-minded people will have more power and influence in the future than countries.
Right.
It's a fact, right? There's a book called Network State by Bahali something. I can't pronounce his name. I'm going to butcher it. It was a 7-hour long podcast with Lex Friedman, and I watched every minute of it. One last question before we come and wrap this up. Was there a day when you were starting in sales that you thought about quitting? And then why'd you decide to stay if you did have that day? Like talk to me about
Well,
like that, right? Because a lot of people
Yes.
listening, they face that, right?
so let me give you the story that I gave you yesterday, and let me tell you about. And I know this is going on the World Wide Web and all the followers, 30, 50,000 followers. But let me
Only
give
the
you this.
only the black web.
Okay, cool. So let me let me give you this. Let me give you this time where I thought about quitting. Let's talk about a year ago. I went through a health storm. I think I told you this, Amir and Eddie. I went through a health storm when I was almost thinking I was going to die, right? I was in the cardiac floor, University of Tennessee Hospital, right? And the doctor told me that they wanted to take my computer away. Well, I still had shipments that need to be moved, right? And the biggest thing that I looked about is that if I gave up and I was ready to like just fold the table, I knew that people wouldn't be paid. I knew that different things wouldn't be completed, right? And I was in a state of depression, like my health. That is reason why you got to go back to some of the things that we have to be thankful for. And I go back to this book that I'm reading now, which is Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, right? The common things that we are thankful for in faith with God is sound mind, health, something that didn't deter your body and you can actually move, right? So I could have quit last year when I had this health storm. I didn't. I still could quit when I face adversity, whether it's funding and we're bootstrapping and other things like that. I didn't. So if I'm still here today with breath in my body, with a sound mind, and the health storm didn't deteriorate me right now, I don't have a choice but to quit. I feed families all across the country. So no matter what, me and my business partner feed families that depend on us to fund them, to pay their paycheck, to pay their medical insurance. So I can't give up. And I believe that task and that role was given to me as a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, and other things. So when God gave me those titles, I take that with my life. And I think as a salesperson, you have to find out your why. And when you find out your why, no matter what, I will not fail. And I'm a man of faith. So if he be for me, who can be against me? Hope that answer your question about the time of I wanted to quit.
It does, because it has a consistent theme of these things happened for me, not to me, right? So
Right,
I'm listening to like a pattern, right? And I think what the big thing is that you'll find this mindset of life is happening for me, not to me, right? And I
right,
remember watching a podcast, and there was a podcast between Lex Friedman and Elon Musk, and then someone else with Andrew Tate, and they said something about like, where do you get your fuel from, and like, where do you get your energy to wake up? And they didn't know how to answer. They were like, well, I don't get it from anywhere. I just know there's work to be done and I need to do it. Right. And
right,
I think that that's just, it's a mentality where, I think you need to like kind of accept the fact that like you're lucky to be born, right? Like you're like one out of a trillion sperm cells in an egg. You're lucky to be healthy. You're lucky to be in a country with freedom, right? Even if you're
right,
born in North Korea, in a way, you're lucky, right?
right,
So I think a lot of people listening, like you're probably in a free country, right? If you're listening to this, you probably have internet, right? And instead of saying I'm a victim, right, start looking at the opposite side, right? I could be born blind and still be lucky. I could be born. So I think it's the constant thing I heard in what you were saying was just this perspective of a growth mindset that I think is part of what sales can help you build, right? And I don't think we know whether or not you're born with it. You can learn it. You can do this. I think it's a combination of everything, and I don't think there's any answer for that, right? And I don't think anybody listening should ever feel exclusive of this group or say, I don't have this mindset, right?
No,
So I'm just not a sales guy. I think people need to understand that, if you put all the ingredients together and you come back to the basics of what you said about humans doing things together versus alone, that the ingredients are here, right? Everything we have to make something special in our lives are here. This has been awesome. I'm like, I would tell you right now that I'm excited to see the people who you help with job opportunities. And I hope that this podcast is an inspiration to those who are in a call center or are working in a fast food place and think
right.
that this is a mean to the end. This is a dead end, right? It's not. It's actually just the beginning.
it
Eddie,
is.
any questions before we wrap this up and let Raki get back to helping people?
Yeah, I have one last question. First, let me tie back two things that you mentioned. Going further, going together, right? With what Amir mentioned about age. Age is irrelevant to a point because there is biological age, but at the same time, going together, passing over knowledge over generations. Technically, I could say I'm as old as humanity is because I know about things that happened way before my lifetime. I know about dinosaurs. I wasn't
Right.
here. So there's a biological age and a knowledge age that we accumulate together as society. And there's a lot of people in society that are hesitant. They're on the fence when it comes to sales. They think it's the snake oil salesperson, sleazy, pushy. But when I meet with leaders that know about sales, that embrace sales as part of their life, their careers, everything, they are passionate about it. So there's probably a lot of people hearing us out there. What would be your best advice to those young, let's say, eager, hungry minds that we have listening to us right now to get into sales? What do you think they should consider, think, do, evaluate?
All right, so I'm gonna give it back to you. I always like to I always like to answer things in a one or two format, right? So first, um, are you gonna face obstacles with your age? Yes. Let me go ahead and clear that up. Yes, I'm 34 years old. I still get treated a certain way due to my age because in this industry, my age has became is looked at like you haven't been around enough, right? Okay. So what I would say is that don't look at rejection or objection as a barrier. Let me just say that because it's going to come. If we think that the preconceived notions and prejudice of other people's thoughts is gonna should dictate your success, it's not. All right. Also, if you're listening to this podcast and you're listening to the young hungry lions in the 20s and even before high school, you're the next people to come up. Okay.
Mhm.
Those are the people that you can change and make change. So what I suggest is go back to that statement that I said. If you want to go somewhere fast, go alone. If you want to go somewhere far, go together. Scale and build. Like I told Amir yesterday, I believe, and we were doing business, and Eddie, when me and you met, I told you my goals, right? And I know we're gonna meet these goals together.
Mhm.
If you're able to be personable and you're able to build with like-minded individuals, your goal will be achieved. Don't put a timestamp on that goal. I have to remind myself when I woke up this morning. I told you guys I need this amount of people. These are the people I'm looking for, right? So if you're hungry and you're out there, read, wake up every day and be disciplined. Is it easy? No. I still have things going on. Be disciplined, build with like-minded individuals, and don't stop. Don't stop. Do not get, I'm pretty sure that I will not change when I turn 40. I'm 34. Okay. I thought I was old. To be honest, I talk like I'm old, but I have to remind myself, and my business partner remind myself, dude, you're 9 years younger than me. Like, we got a lot, you got a lot more ways to go. So
Yeah.
stay hungry. Don't think about, and I also want to tell everybody want thinks about funding. I think I talked about Amir about that. Is it a issue? Funding is going to be an issue for myself. Funding is going to be an issue for you guys. If we had millions and billions of dollars, okay, cool. But stay hungry, build with like-minded individuals, and do good business. I think I'm gonna say that again. Do good business as a salesman. Do right by the people that hire you, and you will go places. And always be a student. Don't be a know-it-all. And I tell myself that
Oof.
I'm
Always
always a
be.
student. Always
Yeah.
be a student in sales. I'm learning so much, and I think that Danny, shout out to Danny as well, over on you guys' team.
Agudelo, we're talking about Agudelo, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And also Daniela, because when I ask questions about different things that I need for my team, right? They hopped on it so immediate. And then Eddie, when I told you I was flying in and stuff like that, everything happened like that. And
Yeah.
that's what young people, when you tell people you need help, don't get worried and carried away about titles. So before we do wrap up, I do want to say this. Eddie and Amir, we've built a partnership. And I think people need to understand that together, as we're scaling and we're multimillionaires, that people need to understand that we're still on the ground floor, hungry with those people that's in their 20s. And they're bringing new ideas to us. And we have an open mindset to be able to learn about those new ideas, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to come to a reputable company, Freight Gruntz, Cloud Task, other companies, we are the pinnacle company that's going to make sure that we breed and we house the hungriest of the hungriest salesmen. And I think the nation's going to find that out here in the next soon when we're on the Forbes list.
You
Amen.
said you said a lot there. I'm going to unpack two things that stuck to me. One, if you're doing sales, put yourself in the buyer's shoe. Don't ever
There you
try to
go.
sell something that you wouldn't buy yourself, right? Number
Absolutely.
three, build a network of like-minded individuals, right? And then in in summary, share the love. This is exactly what we're doing. It took us
Guys,
24 hours to get on a podcast to share this information because what we decided is that we're learning together. I literally said, Raki, hold your conversation. This should be on a live because we want to share. So it's a kind of like a universe
yeah.
thing, karma, right? Like if you want to receive information, give information, right?
That's right.
And by the way, guys, there is an open opportunity in the marketplace to work with Raki. So if you are looking for a new opportunity, come in the marketplace and apply. In general, if you're looking for mentorship and you just want to ask advice, where can people find you? What's the best place for them to connect with you?
Definitely. So I'm going to start off with my personal Instagram. It's Guns, Gunz,
I'm
the
gonna
letter
add you.
N, Lump, Lump, Sums, Sumz 357. All right. I have it labeled there where I have a link tree where you can find me. I love to connect with people personally. Also, if you want to connect with my brokerage opportunity, you can find us at Freight Gruntz. That's FREIGHT Gruntz, GRUNTZ. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Also, I have a team 24/7 that you guys can reach out. All right. We have and I'm not speaking on this to be bragging here right now in logistics. Again, I want to thank my business partner. I want to thank my wife, my business partner's wife. I want to thank everybody because we're not only a veteran owned company, but we're a family owned business. And my business partner right now is serving our country. He's a lieutenant colonel. His wife is a major. So you are connecting in our company with not only some of the creme de la creme that the Army has put out as officers. So when you're coming to an organization, you're not coming to a regular startup. You're coming with some high paid, knowledgeable individuals that has done this in the military. So it's not about me, it's about my team. So
This is for everybody looking. Freight runs.
Freight Gruntz. Don't look at the numbers of our followers. Look at the knowledge you're going to get. So we do consult and do everything. But Amir, Eddie, I'm going to see you guys in the next 2 weeks.
Dude, everybody buys followers,
Make it
man.
happen.
It's better to have real followers.
Right.
Anybody, quality over quantity, guys.
Yep.
Dude, guys, this is great. I appreciate you being you were the first, you're the third. You're the third person on the Transform Life series. Eddie, co-host, appreciate you joining this one too. Raki, thank you again for all the knowledge, and I hope that we can continue to help each other in this little network that we built of people that learn from sales and share the knowledge. Take care, man.
Most definitely. Guys, thank you so much. I will be seeing you guys soon, so don't forget, Amir, you got to pick me up from the airport.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I bought a car just to drive to the airport. Where do I go? I don't go anywhere.
You got to. I need your personal driver to pick me up if that's okay.
That's Danny.
All right, good deal, guys. Hey, tune in to the Transform Sales podcast again. Thank you, guys, man, and man, I'm appreciative for you guys having me.
You're gonna have a good business day. I can tell the motivation. You got the energy. I got the motivation too. I'm going to the gym now. I got motivated.
I'm hungry now, so we need to get on the chat because I'm hungry. I need some more people. So
we got you.
Yeah. All right, thank you, guys.
Raki, it's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Eddie. Thanks, Amir.